Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of What If Deku Was the God of Creation and Destruction, and I said that the wrong way around, so I'm so sorry about that. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for the amazing support recently. I've hit 1.05k subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. People have been responding to my, what's it called? Community tabs. It's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, so I thought I would switch it up with doing what if Deku is the god of destruction and creation. So I am going to pick off from where the last episode ended, which was Deku going back to the training hall, I guess you could say. That is when Melissa says to Deku, "So now that you've got a quirk, are you still gonna follow with your um support hero studies, or are you gonna try and join the hero course?" Now, it's time to explain how Island is working. So Island has grown a lot in population, and they have focused a lot on building Island to make it A, more defensive, and B, bigger. This is because a lot of the refugees from Japan, the very few that are left over, have basically like living there now. So they have decided to make their own hero course and their own hero school, as they're trying to make this into a permanent place, but they're still split up into two sectors, and that is the living sector and the science sector. The science sector is where all the scientists works, and the living sector is where all the people live and where the hero school is. But the hero school is actually in the science sector, but it's mostly for the people in the living sector, and the science sector is mediocrely small because it's where the scientist goes to work, and they actually do live in the living sector. So anyway, Deku's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the hero school." This is because Deku, well, he needs to learn how to utilize his quirk, but the hero school is very limited when it comes to heroes, as most of the heroes died in the Great Attack, which happened a couple of years ago. So anyway, Melissa's like, "Oh, that's sick. I could make all your support items," and Deku goes, "Yeah, that would be great." Smirks at her and then hugs her as they both go home and sleep. The next day arrives as Deku goes to the hero exam. He hit it lucky because not the hero exam. He goes to apply for the hero school. He hit it lucky because he hit it whilst they're taking on students, and he realizes within 10 days that there will be a hero exam. So he decides to crash course practicing his quirk. So he practices quirk until he can control the flames perfectly. The flames of destruction can now be manipulated by Deku, so Deku decides to concentrate them as much as possible until he creates a small concentrated flame in his hands. This concentrated flame is then molded into a sword, as Deku makes a concentrated sword and uses the destruction energy and the creation energy mixed together to create his own sword. This sword is the Sword of Flames. It's a pretty basic named sword, but it has some unique powers behind it, and that's it can be put into the void, which is a new thing Deku's created using his creation quirk, and that's anything created by the creation quirk can go into this void to be immediately pulled out again. And this void is like moving inventory for Deku, but it's quite limited in what it can get in it and take out of it yet. Anyway, number two, it has the ability to amplify Deku's flames of destruction, and it also has the ability to mold into a shield to block attacks, and it also boosts Deku's melee, working as kind of a conductor of energy. So it creates circulation energy around the Deku's body, causing him to be able to amplify own physical strength as much as he wants, depending how much energy he puts into the blade. So the reason I've done this is so I can kind of make Deku a bit more, his powers a bit more plausible, if that makes sense. Like basically just put more power behind Deku's powers, because of course, uh, he's a fledgling god. He's not gonna be weak now, is he? He's also figured out with enough concentration, he can use flames to make himself fly. Well, by fly I mean launch himself in the air and land. But he can only go about we'll go about 30 foot in the air with a lot of concentration, which is it's pretty high, pretty high. And another thing he's learned is that he can go about 6 or 7 foot off the ground and then whip the sword out of the rift and put power into the sword and slam it on the ground to create an AoE attack to take out lots of weak enemies around them by creating what he calls a ring of fire. So there's some moves he's basically learned, I guess, or trained over these 10 days. Uh, First of all, it's Flame Dragon, which is just a swinging of his sword. There's Flame Ring, which I've already mentioned, and another one which is impenetrable defense. Impenetrable deflect. Okay, fine. Flame defense. Sorry, I can't say impenetrable defense. I can't say that too reliably. So we'll go flame defense, which is a pretty basic, but his sword turns into a shield and he can use it to defense. And it's pretty indestructible, but it's like it's not too destructible. It's mediocre. Anyway, so Deku is getting ready for the hero training exam, and then he goes in and he realizes that there is a theory behind it, but due to his somewhat scientific background, yet again he did not do very well, and he was in there only because Mr. slash Professor Shield got him in there and kept him in there. He wasn't really heartedly in creation like Melissa was, and of course he inspired Melissa to train even harder when it comes to her tech skills to help Deku and all that. So back on track of the story. So Deku's getting ready for the hero training exam. He goes to the hero training exam to find out what it is. That is when he's put into a VR room where the walls all turn into tech. Oh yeah, by the way, he's in the hero exam and he's about to take the hero exam. Then he realizes everyone's separated into separate rooms. These rooms, first of all, appear white until they all go hollow, until they all like kind of flash, and he realizes that he's in a new grassy world, and he realizes that the test will be in VR or more reality created by tech. So that's when a mask pops down and Deku puts on the mask, and his whole body is scanned by the room, which was grass. It's now turned into scanners. So his whole body is scanned into this world, and all his powers are also scanned into this world kind of thing. It's more like a VR that tracks his movement and quirk. So he realizes that everything he can do in real life, he can do in here. This is because technology is advanced a lot, with a lot more people going into science because they're stuck on Island, and on top of that, it's a lot more further on from it's a lot more further on, and they need further on than base like canon, and on top of that, they needed a way to evolve it. So that's when he hears, well, I guess his like, nah, not dad. He hears his friend's father down the mic, which is Professor Shield. That's when he's speaking to them all, and he's like, "So we realise you're all here to try and get into the hero course. So we decided to mimic the best school ever, UA. We decided to mimic their training exam from before the calamity happened, and we've decided to put you guys into it because, um, because that's the best way to judge heroes. We will be using the same mark scheme as them, and in fact, we will even be using the same robots. Of course, we're in VR to save money because the wonders of modern technology, right? I remember making the VR machine. Anyway, back on track. Back on track. Um, Good luck, guys, and don't worry. All your quirks and everything will be transferred. It'll all be like normal. In fact, you probably won't be able to tell. Anyway, VR on. The VR turns on as the room goes to black, and then it lights up as he realizes Deku's mask has now activated VR. That's when he realizes that he's got his whole quirk, but he's in. He realizes how his whole body moves the same, and it feels like he's in real life. Yet when he looks around, he can see what looks like a wall and a fake city. So anyway, that's when Professor Shield goes 3, 2, 1, go. The students around him within VR start charging as they're all in one big MMO world, but to them it feels like real life. They all start charging towards the robots as it takes Deku a couple of seconds to realize he was counting down for the hero exam. Deku realizes this, and he also realizes he's got to catch up. So he immediately uses his destruction flames to boost him ahead to try and get him in front of a few of the students. He does that until he encounters a one-pointer robot. He realizes the best way to take this one-pointer robot on would be to use the flame sword. So what he does, he decides to use his destruction flames to jump him 30 foot into the air as Deku starts falling down, and when he's about 10 foot, but before he falls down, he grabs out his sword, and when he's about 10 foot, he swings his sword down, creating an AoE attack that completely melts the front of the robot's face. People look at Deku's power and then quickly concentrate back on what they're attacking again. Deku then walks up and swings at one of the one-pointer robot, going Death Swing. This is a new move he's created where he puts a lot of power within one swing to see whether it can to basically stop him from swinging 10 times and rather swinging him one time, but it still takes a lot of energy. This death swing works, but Deku realizes that this takes way too much energy. So what he decides to do is do a flame swing. He does about 5 flame swings before he can take out another one-pointer robot. Then he realizes he's got to start taking on some two-pointer robots. So he puts his sword away as he uses his destruction flames to look for another two-pointer robot. He's looking around until he sees one and then boosts towards it using the destruction flames. And mid-boost, he pulls out his sword, decapitating the two-pointer robot in one foul sweep. This shocks all the students around him as it's a clean swipe. Then a huge robot appears out of nowhere, and an unidentified weird person that he could only identify by a gender, a girl, is there, stuck under a rock from a failed attack against a one-pointer robot. She took out the one-pointer robot, but she got stuck under the rock where this huge zero-pointer robot came in. That's when Professor Shield says, "You're better off ignoring that, since that robot gives you 0 points." Of course, he did explain to the students about the one-pointer and the two-pointer, but he neglected to tell them about the zero-pointer until it was under attack. Deku realized that someone needed his help, and he realized that he's not going to let anyone else die like they did in Japan. So, like what happened to his parents. So what he decides to do is run in and instantly uses flames to jump up Then he creates then he pulls out his sword and stabs it into the leg of the robot. He then pulls himself up on the sword, using the sword to push around his power, circulate it around his body, and boost his strength so he can climb up on the sword. He somehow balances on the sword before he uses his destruction flames and the boost from jumping off the sword to get a little bit higher, making the sword disappear and reappear again into his hands and stabbing it into the robot's leg. He does this about 5 times until he's on top of the robot, and then the robot's been trying to shake him off his entire time. It's a miracle that Deku still has the balance to be on there, but he's absolutely clutching it, and that's when he goes, "Death swing," and circulates his power, doing one foul sweep which cuts through the robot's head, absolutely melting it off, causing it to slowly fall off. The robot then Deku realizes that he's got to make sure the robot falls the other way. So what he does, he uses his death flames and jumps off the side of the robot, pushing it the opposite way from the girl. Uh, Deku realizes that he might fall and hurt himself here, but he could hopefully use his own creation quirk to heal himself later on outside of battle. Um, Deku falls until he's saved by the girl he saved before. You may ask how he saves her. He saves her using her quirk, which is air manipulation. Now, this is not as strong as you think, as all it does is no, not air manipulation. We'll go air manipulation. So what she does is she uses the light breeze to push Deku up, not hurting him. Deku then realizes that she's got an elemental based quirk similar to his, but then she looks surprised too, and that's when he realizes, wait, wind? He realizes that a part of his creation quirk actually saved him himself. It was the wind elemental coming out. Wind is usually linked to creation, so I'm linking it to his creation quirk. Hopefully that Finn link is good enough. I don't know. But anyway, Deku's unlocked the wind side of his creation quirk to deal with the destruction side of his creation quirk. Uh, to dis- to deal with the fire destruction. So now he has the wind of life and the fire and the fire of destruction at his mandal. As for the girl, Deku realizes from the extreme circumstances of the fight, she's knocked unconscious. Melissa was watching the entire time through camera broadcasts, but wasn't allowed in the main room. She was on the edge of her seat, but as soon as the exam finished, which was exactly after Deku fought and defeated the robot, she ran into the exam, waiting for where the students exit the rooms. She exits the rooms and hugs Deku, forgetting that it was actually just not reality, but also forgetting that it was virtual reality, so nobody got hurt. But she still hugged Deku, not knowing this, and just feeling sad about watching Deku get hurt, even though it wasn't real. Then she realizes that, oh god, this is a bit awkward. Backs off from the hug, and they both blush. This is where I'm gonna end this episode because it's been going on for quite a while, and yeah. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe helps me out a bunch. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you're still watching, it's been a blast. Anyway, this is my time to head out. So goodbye.